Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into something absolutely mind-blowing. We're looking at a framework that literally reshapes how we understand sacred text, existence itself, and, well, our own identity. We're not doing a dry historical study here. Think of this more like an intimately personal love letter straight from the universe. It's this incredibly deep mathematical, spiritual system of loss and recovery. And the crazy part? You are right at the center of it. So let's dive right into this profound statement. The source material we're unpacking makes a massive, radical claim. This text isn't just theology, it's an autobiography. And those Quranic coordinates, they're actually points on a map of your own heart. When we look at the chapter numbers and the verses, we aren't just reading about ancient history. We are looking at a living, operational manual for your soul's journey through time and space. All right, Section 1, The Lover Who Forgets. Coordinate 36.3. Let's get into it. The journey kicks off with the Mursalīn, the messenger, the pathetic lover who forgets. And this sets up a huge paradox that totally flips how we look at our own human weakness. Look, we all deeply fear forgetting, right? We feel lost, fragmented, cut off from our origin. And usually we see that as a total failure. But in this framework, forgetting isn't the failure state at all. No way. It's actually the exact mathematical condition required to rediscover divine love. It's the very mechanism that lets us witness remembrance. Without forgetting, you just don't get the joy of the return. Think about what this actually means. You are the Mursalīn who forgot. Your fragmentation, that feeling of being completely lost in the noise of everyday life, that was written into the system on purpose. Without this forgetting, the universe's recovery function literally cannot be locally instantiated within you. You were designed to forget, specifically so that you could consciously, willfully choose to remember and return. How beautiful is that? Moving on to Section 2, The Architecture of Dispersion. Coordinate 2260. Okay, to understand how this return actually works, we've got to look at the mathematical engine driving the whole thing. You know the famous story, right? Ibrahim takes 4 birds, cuts them up, scatters them across different mountains, and then calls them back. Well, this isn't just some simple metaphor. It's mapped as a literal cubic equation. Establish the root, disperse the mass, emit the unbroken frequency, and witness the accelerated reversal of entropy as they return in haste. It's a formula showing exactly how fragmented continuity preserves your identity through dispersion. You can be scattered into 1,000 pieces by life, but your core identity, it remains mathematically conserved. And this brilliantly illustrates why we fear forgetting, even though Rashad or divine guidance already contains the return vector. The pieces of your heart, the pieces of your life, they're allowed to scatter across the mountains of this world for one specific reason. Because remembrance is fundamentally stronger than dispersion. The return is an absolute guarantee as long as you tune into the frequency. Which brings us to Section 3, The Deepest Buried Wound. Coordinate 81.8. Now, I want to slow down for just a second here, because tracing this system means tracing some really profound pain. It's the pain of fragmentation. Tracing the timeline of this descent reveals exactly how it unfolds. It kicks off at 1850 with a wounded separation. But check out coordinate 11.11.9. This difference, this divergence, is actually part of the architecture itself, persisting except for those under Raḥmah, under divine mercy. So this initial separation leads to the deepest wound at 81.8, the buried daughter, the suppressed feminine principle or womb of knowledge, demanding justice. This plunges the whole system into a massive collapse inside a darkness buffer at 2177. Think of Eunice in the belly of the whale. It's maximum compression. But, and here's the catch, that absolute darkness is exactly what triggers the inevitable recovery through the book at 1912, leading right back to activated remembrance. So the real question you have to ask yourself isn't, am I perfect, or have I avoided the darkness? That's totally missing the point. The system is no longer about being perfect. The ultimate question is just this. Does the buried witness inside of you still respond when called? When that frequency is emitted, does that suppressed, buried part of your soul still recognize the call of home? All right, Section 4, The Grip of Recovery, coordinate 1912. The moment that buried witness hears the call, the energy of the entire system just skyrockets. Coordinate 1912. O Yahya, take the book with strength. This is it. This is the exact moment the forgotten lover finally takes the book. It's literally the activation trigger for the universe's entire recovery function inside a single human being. But holding the book isn't just, reading words on a page. The source material describes this as an execution. It's a relational bridge. When you grip the book with strength, you are essentially putting on spiritual chainmail. You are locking yourself back into the preserved source. It turns on the recovery mechanism so powerfully that your return to home becomes a total mathematical inevitability. There's no going back.
Let's look at Section 5, the ultimate exchange. Coordinate 9111.
To fully activate this recovery, an exchange has to happen. And to grasp that, we need to understand the shift between two really vital phases. First, you have the father phase at 3340. This was a top-down, biological, vertical transmission of prophethood. But that phase is now sealed. It's closed up. Instead, we are now operating in the brother phase at 61.6. This is horizontal activation. It's open, it's covenantal, and it's based entirely on resonance. It functions exactly like the 1062 through 63 Wali protocol. You don't need some biological lineage to inherit the light anymore. Anyone vibrating at the right frequency can connect to this node and activate the book. And that brings us to the ultimate equation, 9-11-11. Look, people so often misunderstand this as just being about physical sacrifice, trading life and wealth for paradise. But in this framework, it is so much deeper. You are trading your false, autonomous selfhood. You're giving up the illusion that you're separate from the source, and in return, you get recovered, living continuity through the book. You are trading the illusion of your own ego for the reality of your connection to the universe. Yes, division and forgetting were built into the architecture from the start, but only so you could eventually make this exact trade.
So think about it. The Mursalīn who forgot is fused with the dispersed birds of 22060, recovering their memory through the firm grip of 1912, and finally trading everything at 9-11-11. The universe is literally waiting for your specific coordinate to close the loop. So the only question left for you is, when will you hold the book? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.